Welcome back. This is Sandy with Sandy's Organized Chaos, and today we are going to be doing something just a little bit different. It happens to the best of us. It happens to me too. We have those cups that we set up on the shelf and we just don't know what to do with it. And in my case, this was an ombre that a customer had requested and she just didn't like it. So I ended up remaking the tumbler and I stuck this one up on my shelf and I didn't know what to do with it. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how I turned that plain old ombre that the customer didn't like into something a little bit more fabulous. So if you have a bunch of tumblers up on your shelf, like I do sometimes, and you just don't know what to do with them, let's turn that around. Let's make something fabulous out of those tumblers. So before you throw it away or try to strip it, let's try to think outside of the box and see how we can fix it. Let's do this. Sometimes we have winners and sometimes we don't, and that's okay. Now, the customer didn't like this, so like I said, I put it up on my shelf to do something else with it. And so I decided, since it's almost Christmas and it's all white, that I am going to make it into a pretty snowflake faded type tumbler. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I found these snowflakes on Etsy. I'll make sure to put them into the description below. I really like them because I like how thick they are and they are extremely easy to weed. So I'm working on a 20-ounce skinny over there that I just showed you guys. So I wanted them all varying sizes. So I just brought some down to about 1.5 inches, one down to 1 inch, and I think I left one a little bit over 2 inches, like almost 3. So that's all I did, and then I'm going to duplicate those and get them cut out. So the vinyl that I chose to use today is this brushed silver. It just came in a 3-pack from Michaels. It's a Cricut brand vinyl. So you might recognize that bronze one from my last tutorial that I did. So your unwanted tumblers might look a little bit different. They might be darker colors. They might be, you know, all kinds of different shades, and that's okay. You just want to kind of think about the time of season that you're in and kind of go from there with the concept that you want to come up with to make your cup just a little bit better. If you have any type of imperfections on your tumbler as well, I will also show you another technique I like to use to kind of hide any other little imperfections. That's that bleach spritz look with the spray paint. So I'm going to kind of do that as well on this tumbler. You could also take those tumblers and turn them into Milky Ways. You could take them and turn them into peekaboos. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to take those unwanted tumblers and turn them into winners. So back over to this transformation for this tumbler. All I'm going to do is take my snowflakes, and I kind of want to do a cascading look. I like that look where it swoops down and goes up onto the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and place the bigger ones down first, and then I will come back through and place the smaller snowflakes in between. Now I did wrap one of these bigger ones around the bottom, so I'm just gonna kind of show you really quick how I did that. I just make my slits and then put it down about where I want it. I went ahead and smoothed it onto the front of the tumbler here, and then I just kind of peel back my transfer tape and just make sure everything's all smooth around the bottom, and it's as easy as that. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in all my little snowflakes all around my bigger snowflakes, and making sure I even added another one onto the bottom as well. And it's as easy as that. You could leave it just like this. It's beautiful as is, or we can move on and do that extra little bit of stuff that I'm going to be showing you guys. So before we move on to that next step, I need to apply a coat of epoxy. I have my Alumilite's Amazing Clear Cast, which is what I use, but you can feel free to use any type of epoxy you have on hand. Now I'm going to give it a quick shot of my 2x Ultra Cover here. That really helps out with micro bubbles around that metallic vinyl. So after this coat of epoxy is on, I will show you guys the micro bubbles and how easy it is to pop them. So if you look right here, right around that snowflake, you can see all of those little bubbles just sitting there, which really isn't too bad, but we don't want any. We want it nice and crystal clear. So we're just gonna take a butane torch or a lighter, whatever you have on hand, and just help those bubbles be popped with your butane torch. It's not the heat, it's the butane in the torch, which is what pops those bubbles. So now you come in for a closer inspection and they're all gone. nice, beautiful, and shiny. Now, after I put that on my turner, about 30 minutes later, I came back through with my butane torch and hit it up one more time just to make sure all those little micro bubbles were gone. Now I'm going to let that continue to cure for about 12 hours, just overnight, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. And I'm going to let you guys know that I accidentally forgot to press record when I started working on my spray paint look here. But that's okay, I stopped when I realized it, and now we're gonna move forward and I'm gonna redo some of those spots I did. Okay, so anyways, I am using just a basic white, it's 2x paint plus primer. I really enjoy using it. It works great. I use it for everything. So I'm just going to kind of show you guys, you don't want to go full blast onto your tumbler. You just want to get a very light mist going. So what I do is I get it going and then I just slowly take my finger off of the trigger so that way it doesn't come out as fast. And another thing you want to think about is where you want to place your vinyls. If you plan on putting a monogram or a quote, you just kind of want to think about that. So I made sure to put some little spritzes around where I want to put my monogram, and then just casually do a couple more here and there around there. Now I'm not worried about any type of overcast of the spray paint on the rest of the tumbler because we're going to come back through and clean that up when we go back inside. There is no right or wrong here, guys. If you don't like what's happening on your tumbler, there's nothing wrong with going back inside and wiping all the paint off. It comes right off with fingernail polish remover. So you can't mess this up. You got this. I know you do. All right, so I decided to add a second layer of a color. I'm using this silver lilac from Rust-Oleum. I just really like, it's almost like a grayish purple, and I just thought it went really well with what I was doing today. And of course, my child is running around in the background, even though I told her to stay away from mommy while she was painting. But hey, jeez. So all I'm going to do is just add spritzes of that silver, or that lavender, not silver, right over the top of my white. And then as you guys can see, I'm very lightly pressing on the tip of my can to make that splattery look, which I will show you guys a little bit better here in a second, how I do that. So here I'm going to show you a little bit better how I do those drip marks. I just hold it until it's just ever so slightly coming out of the tip of that can there, and then that's all I do for that. Now from here, it's just a matter of layering that white and silver lilac one on top of each other until you get that look that you are after. And here, as you can see, I'm going to do the same thing with the white and just keep going until I'm done. Again, if you have a tumbler that has some imperfections and you just don't know how to cover them, this is another great technique that you can use to kind of just spruce it up a little and hide any little imperfections that you might have, as long as you can incorporate it into the design that you want to do. All right, we are back inside. It's nice and dry. And as you can see, I accidentally got some big old splotches on here, but I'm not worried about it because I'm going to take my acetone. I have 100% acetone here, and I also have 91% alcohol that I'm going to use as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my acetone to wipe off any big areas that I want to get rid of. And then I'm going to come back through and use the rubbing alcohol to just kind of clean up any of that overspray that got onto my tumbler. So with my acetone, I'm just going to remove those big old splotches, and then I'm actually going to take it and rub all the way up those snowflakes because I didn't really want too much on the snowflakes. So I'm just going to take that and clean up those snowflakes really well. Now with the rubbing alcohol, I'm just going to take it and clean up all of it. I'm just going to wipe the entire tumbler with my rubbing alcohol to clean up all that little extra overspray. I'm going to show you guys how to make your own type of monogram so that way it can match whatever you're trying to do on your tumbler. So here I have an interlocking, I have the big middle part of interlocking monogram. I'll make sure to put that in the description below. It's my favorite type of monogram to use. And then I took some more of those snowflakes that I'd used to go on the outside of my tumbler, and I just took 3 of them, and then I'm just going to try to figure out a design I'd like to place onto the monogram here. This is a really great way to for any time of year to really just add a little something extra to your customers' tumblers if that's what they would like. You could use flowers, you could use scrolls. I mean, you could use all kinds of stuff to give it just a little bit more of a special touch for everybody. So I'm just going to line it up and make sure that there's no weird spots that I have to weed out. And that's pretty much all I did. I just placed everything around until I liked the way it looked. Okay, so after I got everything positioned, I felt like I needed one more, so I just duplicated that one snowflake that's at the top there, and there she is, ready to go. So I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to weld that together, and then it'll be ready to cut, and it'll all come out as one piece on your Cricut. Here it is all finished up. It was extremely easy to weed, so that's why I really enjoy those snowflakes. They're extremely easy to weed those things, no matter how small the image is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my transfer tape, and then I'm gonna go ahead and place it onto my tumbler. Now, I feel pretty confident that this is going to stick to the paint, and that's why I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with placing it directly onto the paint. Sometimes with certain types of vinyls, I don't like to do that, especially the foil vinyls. It has a tendency to peel up off of the paint. So with this one, I felt fine. I felt like it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this down here. But see, this is what I'm talking about. I knew I was going to apply a monogram, so I went ahead and made a little area just for the monogram here. So it had a little bit of that paint behind it and gave it just a little bit more character. All right, now it is ready for some epoxy, but first I'm gonna give it a quick coat of my 2x Ultra Cover here, because sometimes those paints have a tendency to wanna wick away the epoxy, and that Ultra Cover clear there just kind of gives it something to hold on to so no fisheyes form on your tumbler. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that. I'm gonna hit it up with my torch, let that spin overnight and see if it needs a second coat. And then after that, about 7 days later, I will take my very first sip out of it. So don't throw those tumblers away. Don't strip them. Just let it sit off to the side. See if you can come up with another concept for it and turn it into that winning tumbler. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more tips, vlogs, tutorials, all kinds of stuff I have coming your way. And I will see you guys next time.